So we'll come around here. Now everybody understands with roses, roses are the first vine susceptible to powdery mildew. And what you do is you generally put them around your vineyard and keep an eye on them. And if you see powdery mildew jumping on the roses, the next vine to get it will be your grapes. And you don't want to do it, so you go into a special spray program to prevent that. Also, in Europe, it was always different strains of roses were always kind of your take on that is my vineyard, that's my estate. So you would have a different strain of roses than your neighbor would have. So that was two means of distinguishing and using roses. Now everybody understands that this vine is really two vines. From the ground down are American roots. From the ground up is vinifera, the wine-producing grape. Now, if you would have just planted on, say, the vinifera is like Cabernet, Chardonnay, Pinot, on and on, Syrah. The ground down is American roots like Concord. The reason we do that is there's a little root louse called phylloxera. Now, on vinifera or the Cabernet roots, the phylloxera starts sucking. And it's trying to suck the nutrients. Well, vinifera sees it as a predator and shuts off nutrients, thinking it's going to kill this little root louse. Well, the root louse just jumps to the next root. What does he do again? Shuts off nutrients. He ends up killing itself. Now, American roots, rootstock, like Concord, has learned to coexist because phylloxera started in North America and then was drug all over the world by people taking a flower or a plant or a vine home to their country. And of course they took it in the roots, this phylloxera, and they spread it all over the world and devastated vines all over the world. So what American roots have learned to coexist is it starts sucking, it's a grape root, it starts sucking again the phylloxera, but instead of shutting off nutrients and killing itself, it shoots another root, another root, another root. It keeps outgrowing the phylloxera. So what you do is try to find the right rootstock for your region, because up in Oregon, we get a lot of rain. Here, it's pretty drought area. So what you try to do is find a American rootstock that suits your vineyard, or even your block of vineyard, and then you graft whatever clone or whatever varietal you want, and then you have a long-lived vineyard with your complete little strain or clone of whatever grape you want. Okay?
Would it be the winery that would do the grafting, or they're specialists?
They're specialists. You could dictate, you could even give them the, say, if we have a vineyard and we have a specific type of Cabernet, strain of Cabernet or a clone of Cabernet, we'll give them some of that wood because the phylloxera is down at the root. We'll give them some of that wood and they'll test it, make sure it's clean, and then they'll graft it on whatever grape stock you wanted, American rootstock you wanted. And there's ways of even splicing. You could even set them up on little glasses where you could get them to grow. And then when they get long enough and they're joined together then you put them in sawdust and they'll grow the roots and they'll start growing the leaves, and then you'll transplant it into special areas that are like little vineyards except in less expensive areas, not Napa. And then what they'll do is they'll bunch them in 50, bundles of 50, and then you bring them into your vineyard and plant them. They're about 2 years old when you do that. Okay? So this is kind of where it started out here. When we get to the top of this little rise, you'll see our first winery. It was just a little garage, a little overhang, and that's where we started with 157 cases. And that was our Chardonnay. No, it's just what we started with. And a lot of people had started with Cabernet, but we started with Chardonnay. And that's kind of, even to this point, a lot of people think of us as a Chardonnay house because 50% of our production is just in the Napa Valley Chardonnay. 30% is in the Sauvignon Blanc, so now you're up to 80% of our production just in those 2 wines alone. We create 15 different wines here at Cakebread Cellars. So you can see not that whole building, but just that little overhang. That was the first winery, except it didn't look that nice. It was kind of open. And we created our first Chardonnay there, but right off the bat, it was a hit. People knew there was something special about Cakebread and Jack and Dolores Cakebread. Then we built on twice. We thought we were big boys in those times, but then we soon had to come over and build where you entered in. We built that section, then kept adding on. And then that is our state-of-the-art red facility over there. So you'll see open-top fermenters, a computer-controlled winery that Julianne Lax has just taken to the next level. So it's pretty incredible to see the consistency that comes out of this winery every year. And as a winemaker, that even astounds me, because it's tough to, you're having all these obstacles every year. It's not the same thing every year. This year, it's so unusually cold. And that we're going to have higher acidity this year. Of course, the grapes are staying in the vine a lot longer to ripen. Now, as grapes stay on the vine, Cabernet, they're going to build thicker skins, and you're going to get more tannins. So you're going to have to, that's why being a winemaker like Bruce or Julianne that are always in the vineyard, they have that special knowledge of how these grapes are evolving. And even me, when I'm walking through the vineyard every noon, I'll take my walk and taste the grapes along the line, even from when they're pea-sized. And I just love to taste them, and you get just different aspects out of each block.